Hey everybody, we are here at PRI. We're actually in the Racing Junk booth, and we are doing a live Q&A with Head of Membership and Customer Service here, Ian Downey.
Thank you.
Ian's going to introduce himself and give him a better intro than I am, but we wanted to give folks a chance to ask questions about buying and selling online. PRI is sort of the place to come and figure out what you need for your race and performance vehicle. It is kind of a family reunion for everyone in the race and performance industry, and we always get a ton of questions from returning users, new users, people who are interested in what Racing Junk can do for them because they have a race team, because they have a classic car. Right. So we wanted to answer some questions. So if you have a question, feel free to put it in the chat here. We'll answer them. We also have some that people have already asked today we thought we'd address. So if Ian gets off topic, I'll redirect him. But other than that, we're just going to field some questions, answer some of the big things that people always ask, and we'll go from there.
Perfect.
Ian, kick it off.
So for anyone who's been to PRI, you've probably seen me at PRI. I don't know how many PRIs I've been at, but I've been with Racing Junk for 16 years. So when it comes to buying and selling online, I've been kind of right in this, thick of it for the last 16 years. The biggest thing, or when it comes to actually, buying and selling online, is where to do it. Obviously,
right.
Depending on what you have. So obviously, I'm very biased.
Right. Obviously, no one will be surprised if we're like, you should buy and sell on Racing Junk no matter what. But this is also about like how to do it safely, how to do it effectively, what you need to know when you buy and sell online, and we'll be specific examples for Racing Junk, but some of it is just true no matter what, and some of it's just good advice for when you're buying and selling new and used stuff. So
right. I think when it comes to actually selling, obviously you have your item they want to sell, and there's so many different things you can sell on RacingJunk's.com. But
right.
Obviously without me specifically knowing a certain item, whenever someone were to ask me, I have a car, I have a part, whatever it may be. What do I need to do to sell it?
Right.
Obviously, the very first thing is how are they going to create their ad?
Right, totally.
Or their listing, I should say. And some of the pieces of advice that I try and give people when they're going to create their listing, the first thing is to do a little bit of research.
Right.
Whether that's going on Racing Junk and seeing what other people are listing it for on our site, but also on other people's websites. And just kind of see what your specific item is selling for. And then that kind of gives you an idea of, should I be around that price point? Right. Should I be lower? Should I be higher?
Right.
Obviously, a lot of stuff in the racing industry or the performance industry, a lot of it's custom.
Absolutely. So you can't just look it up in Kelley Blue Book and be like, oh, hey.
Exactly. So that's the first piece of advice, is just do a little bit of research so you're not going into a blind. And then when you're actually thinking about creating your listing, obviously on our site, there are specific things that we are going to ask you, so your ad can go up. We're going to ask you for a description. We're going to ask you for photos. We're going to ask you for a price.
Right.
And then depending on what you're selling, there's other miscellaneous questions that might be asked. But those are the three biggest things. Obviously, by doing your research, hopefully you have an idea of price before you come to our site. But then when you're actually going and building it, you want to make sure you take pictures.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you have a friend with a better camera, can take better pictures, fine. But to be honest with you, a lot of the phones nowadays take perfectly good pictures. You don't need to hire a professional. A basic iPhone or whatever the new hot thing is out there will work perfectly fine with taking pictures. But pictures matter.
Yeah, totally.
People want to know, want to see why you're listing at whatever price you're listing it for. So that's my second piece of advice, is make sure you take pictures, make sure you have pictures, and then really start thinking about your description.
Right.
And really what makes your item unique, especially if it's something that's more of a popular item.
Yeah.
Is it because yours is all custom and you've changed stuff? Is it the year, so it's so much older, so it's more valuable, whatever it may be. And then when you're thinking of the description, we're not looking for a novel. No one wants to read a novel on our website.
Right.
You want to have just enough information that people find it intriguing.
Right.
But don't be afraid to to be honest with you, leave a couple things out to make sure that person gives you a phone call.
Right.
Because ultimately, our job is connect buyer and sellers here at Racing Junk. We're not physically selling stuff. We're not physically buying stuff. We're just connecting those buyers and sellers. So as long as your description attracts someone, we're going to send you that lead,
Right.
and then once you talk to them, now you can actually sell the person,
Right.
and you can maybe give them a little hidden nugget that they didn't know about. So
that kind of leads to one of the things that comes up a lot, which is the safety issue. How do you make sure that the person you're selling to is legit, and vice versa? How do you, as a buyer, vet somebody who is selling something? What are some things to look out for?
Right. So, unfortunately, with our industry, there are scammers out there,
and you guys, your team does a great job of going through it. You guys look at the listings every day. You scan through everything, anything that you guys flag, you remove, or you contact the seller.
Exactly.
But it's ultimately comes down to the
buyer or seller.
Yeah.
And as long as people understand, I mean, the easiest, and it sounds cliche to say, but like, if it's too good to be true, it is.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
I understand you might see a price one, you're like, I need to jump on that.
Or it'd be so close.
Right.
Yeah.
Most likely, it's unfortunately probably not legit listing. But when it comes to buying and selling, my, again, number one advice, doing this for 16 years, is to make sure you talk to someone on the phone, whether you're the buyer or seller. Most scammers do not want to talk on the phone, mainly because they don't know what they're buying and they don't know what you're selling. So they can't have that honest conversation because they're just trying to scam you. So if you get someone on the phone and you get asking them questions and you realize they don't know the answer to the questions, there's a pretty good chance that they're not legit. Now also, they're going to push to want to text you, want to email. And the reason for that is because if you then ask a question, they can go to Google, type in the question, and then actually make it seem like when they text you back or email you back that they know the answer. So to me, it's always good to be on the phone and talk to them, build a relationship with them before they do it. Ultimately, if you are the seller, you hold all the cards. Again, if you're not comfortable, just don't do it. The last thing you want to do is just get rid of it and realize that you've been scammed out of money. Obviously, that's stuff you can do yourself. There are things out there like escrow and stuff like that that can really protect buyers and sellers. We've worked in the past with escrow.com. I don't know if we currently have a relationship with them, but again, it's simple. Places like escrows, you essentially the buyer and seller will come to agreement on a price. You contact escrow company. Essentially, here's the deal, and the escrow company collects the payment. The person who's selling the item, and obviously they verify the payment. The person who's selling then sells the item or ships it or whatever it may be, and then when the person's happy with it, then escrow will release it. So it's a good way to essentially make sure that both parties are happy in the end. Obviously, that comes with a cost, rightfully so. But again, there are ways out there to protect yourself if you ultimately don't want to just be the only person.
You're selling a high value item or buying a high value item, it makes sense, right? If you're selling a bunch of small parts, maybe not as.
And again, not to toot our own horn. I mean, the nice part about Racing Junk is there's no transaction fee.
Yeah, exactly.
So whatever you post on your site, you're getting 100% back. We're not going to take a percentage of the pie. So because of that, because if you're posting on our site, you might know you have a little bit extra money to be able to go to an escrow and do something like that. So,
we had a potential user who came and asked a bunch of questions earlier that I thought were great questions. So, any of those that you want to tackle?
So the gentleman we literally just talked to just before we started had a really good question. He essentially has an engine that's not quite been dynoed or any of that type of stuff. So he wanted to know, should he essentially sell it for parts, or should he get it tested and sell it as essentially a complete engine? So again, we're never going to tell you what to do. The only, again, when it comes to Racing Junk, if you want to use our site, you got to understand that a lot of the users, they are going to, you have two different users, right? You have the people who, yes, physically might have the money or the time and the ability to create an engine, but there are a lot of people out there looking for just a complete engine that's ready to go, ready to put in a race car, ready to put it in their 54 or whatever. So again, maybe you make more money selling all the parts separate, but it might sell quicker if it's a complete engine. Unfortunately for us, because we don't get involved in transactions, because we allow you to keep 100%, we don't technically know what's selling and at what price. So it's hard for us to tell you the exact route to go. But just, in talking to people, knowing the people that come to our website, really you can't go wrong either way. It just depends really on how much, do you want to spend the extra money to get it dynoed and all that kind of stuff, or as is, you're ready to get rid of all the parts.
Right.
So
exactly. Did we have a question?
A lot of people are asking about how much it is to place an ad, but there was one person that asked about the difference between different clubs.
Oh, okay.
All of those are great questions.
Yeah. So I'll start with the obvious, which is how much does it cost on Racing Junk? And this is one thing that I brag about all the time. Whenever we have some type of marketing meeting, I'm always bragging about that it's free on Racing Junk, and it really is. On Racing Junk, we don't have a pay-per ad model. A lot of other websites, if you want to put an ad up, or I should say a listing up.
Right. And it's been a hard
transition.
Hard vocabulary transition for us.
If you want to put a listing up, you physically pay a fee to put it up. Right. You might have to pay a fee to take it down. You might have the transaction fee, of actually physically selling it.
Right.
Here at Racing Junk, we're membership based,
right.
and this is going to lead into how much it costs. To place ads up on our site, it's free.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost anything. You create an ad, there is no price for that. You do have to have a membership on our website, but we do offer free basic membership.
Right, basic is free.
What you have to understand about RacingJunk.com is, we were started, 24 years ago now, really for grassroots racers that, work a job Monday through Friday,
right.
Find pennies and nickels in their couch to try and race on the weekend.
Yeah.
So we understand that the racing industry is expensive for a lot of people, but a lot of people do it, because they just love it.
Right.
So the Racing Junk itself was created for drag racing users to be able to race on the weekend. So we've always kept our fees low.
Yeah.
And we've always made it possible for people to essentially come to our site to buy, sell, and trade for free.
Right.
And that is our motto: buy, sell, and trade for free. And that being said, there is other ways that we can make money off of upgrades to help the website, because that's the other. When I say to people we're free, they're like, "Well, how do you make money? That's impossible. How can you be free and offer a website?" And you're right. We have employees. Everything costs money.
We cost money.
Exactly. To be here at the PRI show, it costs us money.
Exactly.
So there are things that if you have a free basic membership and you put up your free ad, you can upgrade your ad. Right. You can give it more exposure on the website. You can put it in our newsletter. You
more
can
photos.
Yeah, add photos, stuff like that. So there are other things that you could pay money that come back to the website and help us provide the site to our users. So those are free basic members. They can do upgrades and stuff like that. After free basic memberships, we then offer other membership levels that give you more perks, essentially, to the website. We have a fan membership called Fan Club. It's essentially for browsers of the website.
Yeah.
So if you're someone who's not really looking to sell anything, but you just want to buy, Fan Club membership might be the way to go. It's only $2.95 a month, so it's extremely cheap.
And you get some perks.
And one of the biggest perks is when an ad gets put on our website, for the first 24 hours, you're the only one that can look at it. Only paid members can look at that ad for the first 24 hours. Right. After 24 hours, free basic members, people come to our website can see it. But if you want to, first crack at potentially seeing something that's at a good price that you want, become a Fan Club member and you'll get that early access. Right. After Fan Club, we then have our Pro Club memberships, which are really designed for people who are selling on our website.
Yeah, and selling regularly.
Selling regularly, exactly. So those memberships can either be paid monthly or yearly. They're either $6.95 a month or $49.95 for the entire year.
And we have a lot of membership promos.
We do, exactly.
Please just subscribe to the newsletter.
Again, those Pro Club membership have a lot of selling perks. Where the Fan Club membership has buying perks, the Pro Club has all the buying perks plus the selling perks. Stuff like free photo galleries, which again, if you remember at the beginning, it's important to have photos. Right. And just to throw out numbers to show how cheap our memberships are, a photo gallery on our site costs $20 per listing. Someone who's paying a yearly membership for $49.95, they get photo galleries for free. Right. So literally, the first time you place an ad, you've already made $20. They also get video listings for free. So video usually costs $10. Right. So now all of a sudden, with the very first ad that you paid, you've already made up $30 of the $49.95 that you gave to us.
Because it's 5 listing slots, right?
Well, that's the other piece is free basic users only get 2 listing slots, meaning at any given time they have 2 items listed.
Right.
I would say one of the most common questions I get is, well, I only get to sell 2 items, and it's like you only get 2 at one time.
Right.
If something sells, you can take down, put something back up. So someone who's a free basic user can only have 2 listings at one time, but they might sell 20 different things throughout the year.
Right.
Where a Pro Club member, again, going back to that guy that was talking about his engine, he could have 5 listings at a time. So if he can break his engine down into 5 different parts and he wants to sell them all at once, or take one of the listings and sell the engine as a complete, and then use the other 4 to sell all the parts of it, he can do that, and he'll have 5 items listed at any given time. So there's perks with all of our memberships, but again, it's cheap. Like I said, $49.95 for a Pro Club membership. The first ad you place, you've almost made it up. Matter of fact, when you sign up for a Pro Club membership, we actually give you $65 to use on the site. So you gave us $50, we give you $65 back to help you sell your item. So again, it's all about the fact that we understand that the racing industry, the performance industry is expensive. So we try to keep our prices extremely low, and really try and help you sell your item.
Somebody had asked us earlier too, they have a Corvette, they have a vintage Corvette. We have a lot of categories on the site, and this is, again, true for anything. How do you figure out the best place to list your item? So we have a couple of options for that kind of thing. So
again, we have a lot of different categories that things go under. We have a Corvette, we have a main category just for Corvette, but we also have like anti-classic muscle cars, stuff like that. They have a Chevy section. So my answer to the guy simply was both. Like he thought he had to choose, he had to decide. And my answer to him was, you put it in both categories. Maximize your exposure, put it in the Chevy section, put it in the Corvette section, and now you're in two different sections, and you're maximizing your exposure. And that goes to another question I get all the time is, why would I do the Pro Club if I only have 1 item to sell? And it's like, well, other than all the perks that you're going to get that it's going to pay for the membership anyways, put your ad in 5 different categories if it applies.
Maximize the exposure.
Yeah, if your item can be broken up. If you have a vehicle and you want to sell it as is, but you're willing to part with the tires and wheels, or the engine is separate, sell it all separate. Maximizing your exposure is what it's all about, and there's a way to use your ad listings for that.
Excellent.
Kind of already hit one of the questions a lot of people have been asking, wanted to know. Racing Junk is not just cars.
That's very true.
That's probably one of the biggest misconceptions, is they think they only can sell regular cars. I mean, how many different categories and things are there on Racing Junk that people can use?
So I believe we're up to, we're definitely 30 plus, we might even be 40 plus main categories, but I know we're at least 30 plus main categories. But when you're talking about stuff to sell, people typically, when they hear our name, think it's racing stuff and it's used. When in truthfully, we are the performance industry in general. It's new, it's used, it's racing, it's anti-classic, it's muscle cars, it's off-road vehicles, parts,
engines,
trailers, motorhomes. Like
trailers are a huge
category for us, and
it always has
essentially anything that you can use or do in the performance industry, you can do it. I can tell you, again, 16 years. At least a couple times a year, people put up racetracks.
I know, I love it. It's one of my favorite things. The
racetracks. People put up. I've seen people put up houses for sale because their garage is big enough to work on. It's got a lift to be able to work on a vehicle. Or I don't know. Again, I've seen so many different
we've
ways.
seen some things.
And for us, we don't care as long as there's connection to the performance industry.
And also, I think there's also occasionally a misconception that it's just drag racing. So we have extensive categories for drag racing, circle track racing, dirt and off-road racing, sports car, all sorts of different elements of that. So it is a place where if you are involved in something that goes fast and it has an engine and wheels, boats, race boats, drag boats are a big thing these days.
And we also have other categories like outdoors stuff that again we know that the performance industry likes. So we do actually have some other categories that aren't specific to performance.
I just had somebody that asked, is it only for selling? What if I'm looking for something? Is there a section that I can put an ad for? That I'm
so essentially wanted ads. So we have a dedicated main category for wanted, and then majority of our main categories also have wanted sections. So again, goes back to I'm looking for just one item.
Right.
I don't need five ad package. You're right. You probably don't. But if you did, you could put it in the wanted main category and then go into 3 or 4 other main categories that have wanted, and you can put it in there.
Do we have an option for folks who are a little less comfortable using the internet, who have something to sell and may want some help? Obviously,
yes.
I know the answer to this, but
but it's actually been hugely popular, so it's a good thing to hit on. So maybe 2 years ago, we introduced this feature called concierge service. Again, a lot of people in the industry might not know how to use a computer. They might not know how they want to build it, or what to say, or what to type, or what to do. So a couple years ago, we decided to launch a new feature called concierge service, where essentially for $59.95, we will contact you. You'll tell us what you want to sell. Even if you don't have a membership or an account yet, we'll create your account for you. We'll create the ad for you. We'll collect the photos from you, and then we'll put it up. Now, again, unfortunately, we don't get involved. We don't actually physically sell it for you. Like, you still need to, talk to the people and have the transaction go through yourself, because we don't get involved in the transactions. But we will do everything for you, and then just start sending you all the leads. We'll send you emails. We'll send you phone calls if anyone wants to buy your item.
What if you perhaps have a trailer dealership and you would like to share some of those trailers with the wider audience? I feel a little bit like the public television, when you watch something on PBS and they want you to buy a membership. I feel a little bit like that. So I stopped short of. So I deal with a lot of the private sellers, right. But we also obviously here at PRI, there's a lot of businesses out there. Yeah.
So do not think that only private users that have a couple things to sell can sell on RacingJunk.com. A huge portion of our website are dealerships or dealers that have things to sell, and they have their own perks that that I'll let the sales team get into on that.
Right, exactly. We don't need to get a full sales.
Yeah, so if you're watching this right now and you want to come by the booth, we have plenty of sales reps that can certainly
they will
talk to you. And we always have a show deal. So I know there's a show deal out there, so make sure you ask about it.
Yeah, absolutely. What is the wackiest thing you've seen for sale on Racing Junk?
Well, I mean, I probably already...
The racetrack?
The racetrack. Racetracks always get me.
It makes me laugh every time. I love them.
And again, it's the stuff that's, we've seen some really, really cool vehicles, right?
Yeah.
Custom made vehicles. But it's the ones that make you go, wow, I never really thought of that. So to me, it's the racetracks, it's the houses, and just the spin that people put on it, of why they're justifying this item be put up. So, those are the type of things that I enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I did have one person that asked me something about how do they turn their ad into a feature ad?
Yep.
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah, so again, this goes back to the upgrades I talked about. So as Bobby just talked about, we have one of our upgrades you can do is a featured ad, which is a specific upgrade that essentially features your listing.
Right.
In order to do that, you do have to pay for that feature. Again, going back to the membership levels, basic users pay more.
Right.
Club members pay less. But essentially, if you're going through the posting process and creating your listing on the upgrade page, you can just select the feature upgrade. But let's say your listing's already live on the site, you can just navigate to your listings page, click upgrade. We'll bring you right to the upgrade page, and you select featured. The nice part about it, if you remember earlier, club members, the $65 that we give you, you can actually use that money to offset the cost. Okay. So you can take that money. What we actually do is they're actually called value points that we give you. You can take those value points, offset the cost, so it doesn't really cost you anything. So there's no real. If you don't have a listing, you can certainly feature your ad, but don't worry if you didn't do it before you actually post your ad, you can still do it.
One thing you did mention about was the photo galleries. Is somebody able to put video onto their ad?
Yep. So there's 2 ways you can do video on their site. Again, basic users can pay for it. It's a $10 value, but Pro Club members get it for free. Let's say your video is already up on YouTube. You can just take the embed link, give it to us, and we'll put it up in your ad or your listing. or you can just upload it directly from your computer.
Which it makes it really easy. And I would say this is something for buying and selling online in general, that being able to do video, do stuff directly from your phone, it makes it a lot easier for the user.
Yep.
If you're out at a show or you are in your garage, you can do it. That I know for myself that when I have to like go do photos and then come back and type, and if there are multiple stages, I am less likely
Yep.
to follow through. Racing Junk and a lot of the other platforms for this allow you to do everything at once. We specifically have been working on making sure that you can now do everything at once, so that we can now directly upload your video. You don't have to go to YouTube. You can directly upload your photos. You put everything in it, whether you're doing it from an app, from the desktop. You can get everything done at once, so you don't lose that momentum.
Yeah. And just kind of piggyback on that. And when you say everything,
Yes.
like we legit mean everything.
Yeah, I do mean
Someone right
everything.
now can take their phone, go take some pictures, go to Racing Junk, just start creating their listing,
Yeah.
sign up during the posting process, select their upgrades, and then post the listing.
Exactly.
So-
So you can do it all at once.
Yep.
Two questions. One person wanted to know, how easy is it to do an ad, list an ad from either your phone or mobile device compared to doing it from the website?
So again, I mean, it's obviously easier from a phone just because a lot of people take their pictures from phones
Yeah.
nowadays. Now again, it just depends on what is your level. Are you more used to computers? Are you more used
Yeah.
to phones? Obviously, a lot of people who are kind of grown up with phones, it's way easier to do with the phone. But we have plenty of people when it comes to they have old school cameras.
Yeah.
And it's just easier for them to do it that way. So again, really what we are constantly trying to make both ways very easy, very simple. But what it really comes down to is the user. Like, what
Yeah.
are you more comfortable with? And just know that, we are constantly trying to make the process itself simpler, whether you're going to do it for mobile versus desktop.
Yeah.
And if you have suggestions, let us know.
Yeah, we always love to hear that. Positive suggestions, or even things that are not working for you. Or, we get questions sometimes about browsers, like, hey, this isn't working. One of the things that Ian has not yet mentioned, only because I think he's not hasn't gotten there yet, is that we do have in-house customer service. When you call us during certain hours, there are actual people. I mean, business hours. I don't mean
Right.
like there's only a person there through 1 hour, but like we're not open 24 hours a
Yep.
day. But during business hours,
You're going to
an
talk to a
actual
person.
person can walk you through, which I think is
Yep.
hugely important,
Yep.
right? That's one of my frustrations for so many things, is that you can't get to a person. And our customer service folks actually will help you, which is
And-
sometimes I have to call
And
them.
we'll do a lot of stuff. Like I said,
Yeah.
if we have to physically create the ad listing, that's when the concierge service comes
Right.
up. But let's say you create the ad and you just want the photos uploaded.
Yeah.
We'll do it for free.
Yeah.
Let's say you want changes to your ad. We'll do it for free. Let's say you want help upgrading your ad. We'll take payment over the phone through a credit card. And again, do that for free. The only thing that, if you want customer service, the only thing you technically have to pay for is if you want us to create your account and
Right.
create your ad. After
Right.
that, anything else you need help with,
Yeah.
you're not going to pay for. There's no service that you have to pay for. We are going to be on the phone. I mean, I can't. There's been times I've been on the phone with people for an hour,
Yeah.
just walking them
Yeah.
through it because they wanted to learn how to do it. So obviously, from our perspective, we'd rather teach you how to do it so you can do it going forward. But we don't want you getting frustrated.
Right.
That we don't want you getting frustrated and quitting when it might be something very simple
Right.
that we might know, or a trick that we might know. So if you're ever creating an ad or signing for a membership or just using the site in general and you're getting frustrated, just give us a call.
Yeah.
And one person asks, in your opinion, what are the best upgrades? Which ones work the best?
So if I personally was going to go to RacingJunk, I would sign up for a Pro Club membership, and
Yeah.
I would do the yearly, the $49.95, because you get those $65 in
Yeah.
value points. I would then take those $65 in value points. I would premiere your ad. That only costs $20 if you are a Pro Club member.
Yeah.
Again, just to throw out numbers quickly, a free basic user, it would cost them $25 and it would only run for 2 weeks to
Right.
premiere their ad.
Right.
A Pro Club, it only costs them $20 and it runs for the life of the ad.
Right.
And again, because we gave you the money, you pay. You don't have to pay for that premiere ad.
Right.
So you're just going to use the value points to offset the cost.
And the premiere ad shows up above the other ads.
Yep.
The thumbnail's a little bigger.
Yeah, so if you've never been to our website is broken out by categories. Now, we do have search functionality, but a lot of people browse our categories. So if you go to a category, the first thing you'll notice is there's featured listings.
Right.
Then directly below that, there's premier listings, and then there's the rest of the listings.
Right.
So if you want the best bang for your buck and you're already a club member or you plan on becoming a club member, you're going to want to do a premier ad.
Right.
Featured ads give more visibility, and they definitely see more people, but it costs more money and it has an expiration date.
Right.
Where the premier ad, as long as your ad's active, as long as you have an active club membership, your ad's going to always be in the premier
And if you
section.
have something that you're like, this is probably not going to sell right out of the gate, like you generally know when you have something that might take a couple days or might need to go, whether it's at a higher price point or it's a very custom vehicle. It seems like a good way to go. You get a lot of value for what you're. That's it. Okay, that's okay. Anything else we want to talk about? I think we covered categories, figuring out what category. Again, you have maximum options for that. And again, that we have lots of things. That we do have antique classics, muscle cars, drag race, circle tack, all of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think we hit on the
so too.
the biggest questions that people typically.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's like safely buying and selling, or any other advice for how to get ready to buy or sell. I'm trying to think of any other advice for the buyers that we might want to offer. Again, be smart, do your research, look up what things are selling for. Phone calls, yeah, I thought that was a great piece of advice for folks. And compare. If you have a chance to go and look at the product, you should go and look at the product, absolutely. Right?
Yep.
That's just sort of true.
And there are other people. I believe there are people out there too that you can pay them to go look at it too.
Yeah.
I don't have any off the top of my mind.
No, but I know people have done that. Yeah. You could also search for stuff by location as a buyer.
Yep.
Which is really helpful, so that because obviously if you're on the East Coast and you're looking to buy something from the West Coast, there's the issue of how does it get back. We've definitely had folks who have bought something like in Texas, driven down, hauled it back on their trailer. Sometimes they've bought the trailer to then haul something else back on.
Right.
But there's a lot of options. Yeah, so because we have some time, and we are here live from PRI, can we talk about a few things that are happening at the booth, including our new giveaway?
Yeah, we're giving away a race suit. So if you're either on the website or you go check out the website after you're done browsing, or you created a membership or created a listing, make sure you go to our giveaway section. We almost
always have
some type of giveaway going on.
This one is brand new. It's a whole safety package from Leaf Racewear, and it's a helmet, a safety suit, shoes, gloves. Probably something else that is definitely on the race. I don't know what I'm forgetting. Helmet, shoes, gloves, suit underneath. The booties. There's socks. Maybe there's socks in there, but they throw away some socks. Anyway, we're collaborating with Leaf Racewear for this giveaway. You can sign up for that separately. You can also come see it at the show, or at least an example of it. It's a custom suit that they're going to make specifically. We have a 1965 Chevrolet C10 from Blown Mafia in the booth, which is gorgeous.
T-shirt.
We're, of course, giving away our T-shirts. We give away 4,000.
Give away 4,000 T-shirts
over the course of the week.
I believe this is our
15. I write all this stuff, and I cannot keep these numbers in my head.
This might be our 15th straight year.
16th, I think.
16th year giving away T-shirts. So
yeah, you come get your shirt, you put it on twice a day. We give away $100. We're actually probably going to give away that second $100 in just a few minutes because I see our lovely models standing there. We also, our models are signing posters, giving away koozies, and again, Ian's here in the booth to answer any customer service questions that you guys may have. So I think we're good, unless there's something else anyone wants to talk about. Any other questions?
No.
All right. Thanks, guys, for tuning in, and come see us on Racing Junk.